Before we start this video, I know I've got sunburn on my face. I know we're in the middle of February or at the end of February and I've got sunburn on my face. I live in Florida, man. What can you do? I was out there and I just got burnt today. So listen, laugh all you want, whatever. What's going on, guys? Going on 27 Squad. Welcome back into another video. Listen, I want to talk about quarterbacks today, but before we do, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe for content just like this. Guys, it really helps out the algorithm. I'm not just here like begging for likes just for numbers. It helps the algorithm, helps my content be shown out to other potential viewers out there. So I really be appreciated if you just like the video. That's it. Just like it and comment on it. That's it. Or subscribe, you know. So that being said, I really want to talk about quarterbacks today, and I've been pondering on this. I've been thinking, I've been wondering. I've had a little bit of time in my hands, you know, now that the offseason is setting in, to just think about what the Giants should be doing in free agency, trying to sign their own players, trying to sign players, you know, from different teams, and then going into the draft. Obviously, we have big questions at the quarterback position and the running back position with Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. Those are the big topics of discussion when it comes to, you know, the offseason. Are we going to bring these guys back? And if not, you know, we get a quarterback or something like that. But I think the Giants should really think about getting a quarterback regardless what happens with Daniel Jones. And the reason why I say this is, obviously the Giants aren't going to put a big commitment into Daniel Jones. I highly doubt that. Even if he does sign like a 5-year deal or anything like that, I really think they're going to have a way to get out of it within a couple of years. I don't think Daniel Jones has proved himself to be some guy that you're just going to stick with to the end. You're definitely going to try to find your ways out in a contract, and especially if Daniel Jones signs a franchise tag, if they're not able to get to negotiations, or they're not able to get to you know, see eye to eye on things on the contract, they're probably going to go ahead and franchise tag him, and that will be $32 million next season towards the cap. And then after that, I would imagine they just let him go. They wouldn't sign him to a big contract after that. He would have to like blow us out the water, or like go on another crazy playoff run, and you know, in order for him to get a bigger contract coming off of a franchise tag. So I think the Giants should really consider getting a quarterback in this upcoming draft. Listen, Daniel Jones' future is not set in stone with the Giants, especially if he signs that franchise tag, and you know it's probably going to be a short-term deal, 3 to 4 years. I doubt it's going to be 5 years. Even if it goes 5 years, you're going to find a way to try to get out of it within a couple of years. Obviously, Joe Shane and them, they know what they're doing. They're not going to be fully committed to this guy, giving him crazy guaranteed money. It's just not going to happen. If they don't see eye to eye, I'm sure Daniel Jones will try to seek opportunities elsewhere, but I know Joe Shane is just not going to be fully set out committed to him, and I really think the Giants should try to see what other options they have out there. It's always a good thing to have a quarterback who is developmental. Just go ahead and sit for a little bit, especially if you see a lot of value in him or what he could potentially be in the future. Now, the first scenario, or the first guy I would really consider going ahead and drafting, is Anthony Richardson, the quarterback out of Florida. I've been doing my due diligence on him, and listen, there's a lot to love about Anthony Richardson. I could understand how somebody could draft. Listen, you guys know that I'm a proven type guy. No matter what position you play, especially the quarterback position, I'm a guy that you need to go out there and show it and prove it on the collegiate field to be considered to be drafted in the first round. Richardson is a different case. However, Richardson is a guy that he hasn't put up a lot of great numbers. He averages right around like 53% completion percentage. He doesn't throw for a lot of touchdowns. He throws some picks here and there. But this is a guy that is a raw talent that you could see when you watch this kid on film. He has it. He has it. He needs a coach to go ahead and get him to another level. This is definitely a type of quarterback that needs to sit for a couple of years, and I really don't mind Daniel Jones being that guy, seeing what he can do, and you go ahead and draft Anthony Richardson and build him up under Brian Daboll and get him to where he needs to be, I really like Anthony Richardson. Now, he has big boom or bust potential. I get that. We'll wait to see what happens later on in the draft process when we're talking scouting combine, and we're going to get all these other news and stuff like that, and we'll see where he ranks on big boards. But Anthony Richardson is potentially a guy you may want to target in the first round. If you go ahead and look at Josh Allen in Wyoming, and we're going to get to some of these trade scenarios soon, or that happened previously, but Josh Allen coming out of Wyoming was not great. He had a lot of problems. He wasn't a guy that was ready to play in the NFL yet, but a lot of people saw potential in him because he showed a lot of traits that he just needed to be coached up and go out there and prove himself. Brian Daboll did exactly that with Josh Allen, and Anthony Richardson would be a phenomenal quarterback under a few years with Brian Daboll and given the chance to start and not be thrown into the fire and just day one go out there and prove it. He's just not ready for that, and I completely acknowledge that. Now, there may be a scenario where the Giants could possibly trade up for a quarterback. There's a lot of talk, actually, that C.J. Stroud and not Bryce Young, but C.J. Stroud is on the top 10 range now, which is interesting to me because I think CJ Stroud is 1A and 1B with Bryce Young. A guy that I really don't want is Will Levis. I'm not touching him at all, so don't think I'm talking about him today because I'm not. Will Levis is trash. So a lot of Giants fans in particular, obviously I deal with them the most, they really think that, you're all the way back in the 20s, there's no way you can grab a quarterback at this point. I mean, where do you guys get that notion from? I'm just pulling up the last 3 notable quarterback trades in recent years, and you go back, you guys can see it now. The Chiefs in 2017, they only traded their 27th overall pick, their 3rd round pick, 91st overall, and the next year 2018's 1st round pick to get to the 10th spot, from 27 to 10th, to draft Patrick Mahomes. That is nothing. You're swapping picks in the first. You're giving up a 3rd round and an obvious 1st round pick in the next year's draft. You're not giving up a lot. In that same year, the Deshaun Watson trade, where Houston traded, they literally just swapped picks. 12th for the 25th, and then the following year's 1st round, so 2018's 1st round. So that literally nothing to get 13 spots ahead, from 25th to 12th, to draft Deshaun Watson. Both these quarterbacks, Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes, proved to be top 10 quarterbacks in the league. And Mahomes obviously being the best quarterback in the league. And then 2018, it gets a little tricky here, but if you look at the trade details, they really didn't give up that much. But the Bills trade for Josh Allen. They moved from 21st to 12th, and all they did was swap picks. 187th and 185th. I think these are 6th round picks. And then the Bills traded their longtime left tackle Cordy Glenn, who was already getting up there in age. And then Buffalo wanted to move up a little bit more in that draft to try to make sure they got Josh Allen. So they traded with Tampa Bay, and they received the 7th overall pick and the 255th overall pick. The 7th round pick it's nothing at this point. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they only got out of the Buffalo Bills, they only got a 12th overall pick, the 53rd and the 56th overall pick. So if the Giants really wanted to move up in the draft for a quarterback they like, not named Will Levis, whether that be CJ Stroud or an Anthony Richardson, if he starts rising up draft boards and they feel like they really like Richardson, they can get somewhere at least to the top 10. I mean, they can get anywhere between that, but the highest, top 10, it doesn't seem that hard to do with these 3 scenarios, or these 3 past trades that I mentioned. And then last but not least, Hendon Hooker is a really interesting prospect to me. In my opinion, if he wasn't 26 years old, he may be a 1st round quarterback, or like a high 2nd, sort of like a Jalen Hurts sort of dude. I really like Hooker. If you ask me, he's probably a better quarterback right now than Anthony Richardson. Obviously, the only problem is him being 26 years old, and I think a lot of teams aren't going to really go for that anymore. We've seen what happened with Brandon Weeden all those years ago. He was like 26 coming out in that draft. Hooker is an option if the Giants are in a position where they're in the 3rd round and they're looking for prospects and Hendon Hooker is on the board. Man, I will be really hard pressed to not go Hooker. I don't know if I would go Hendon Hooker in the 2nd round. That's probably a little too high for me because I got other holes to fill. But 3rd round just seems like a really good round that if Hendon Hooker is there and he's available for the Giants in the 3rd, I probably would pull the trigger there and, see what happens with Daniel Jones and obviously eventually let Hooker play. And it'll be a 3rd round pick. It'd be just, no risk in that whatsoever. You're not going to be talking busts for a 3rd round pick. So, the Giants drafted Davis Webb with a 3rd round pick, and I don't think anybody's like crying about that. So that's just my idea, guys. That's just what I kind of thought about. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you guys feel about the Giants potentially getting a quarterback in this upcoming draft? How high would you want the Giants to go? Who do you want them to target? And what do you guys think about the Daniel Jones situation? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. I'm Kid Blue, and I'll see you guys in the next video.